Welcome to Your Son, the Youth and Women's Support Network. I'm Charmaine Sangari from Myself Central on Instagram, and Miss Moore is also my other account on Instagram. You can follow me there to see more of my daily antics and how I cope with life and implement life coaching techniques into my own daily experience. So far in the series, I have discussed the way I take my clients through what I call a journey to wholeness. In week 1, we discussed how to become self-sufficient. We started looking at different ways we can become creative. And this week, we're going to be talking about knowing what you want. So the first way to have what you want is to know what you want. And this is a really important step. So in week 1, you should have written down 5 potential roles that you would be good at. In week 2, you would have started developing a sense of how you wanted to present yourself for any of those roles that you think you would be suitable for. So you've already started looking at different ways that you can prepare yourself for the life that you want. We are creators. We were born creators. We are made in the image of a creator. Therefore, we have the power to create the future that we want. We may not know what the future is, and there's no point sitting and worrying about what the future is because we are the creators of it. The future never comes. It's only ever today. So today is the day that you can create your future, and when tomorrow comes, you will be living in the future that you have created. When you start to think about what it is that you want, it's always good to go back to the basis of who you are. So what are your skills? What are your attributes? What are your talents? What are your gifts? These are the things that you should start really thinking about when you're thinking about what it is that you want. This can be in terms of a relationship. This can be in terms of friendships, relationships with family, relationships with peers, co-workers. Everything that you want, you can have, and it's all your responsibility. Thinking about the future that I wanted, I knew that I wanted to have my own business. I knew that I was good with people. I knew that I had elements of being a good teacher and a good mentor. I'm the sort of person that will uplift someone. I'm a really good type of agony aunt. And so I started looking at all of these things that I do on a daily basis anyway, and I've put that all into my business, and it's given me that passion to follow through with my own dreams and desires. So knowing what you want is very important because it will give you the motivation to pursue your dream. When we face adversity or when we face contrast and we are put in situations that show us what we don't want, what we have there actually is a really good chance to look at the opposite end of the spectrum to see what it is that we do want. Because when there's something that you don't want, there is always something that you do want. So you could be in a situation where you're like, I don't want to be treated like that anymore. I don't want to be poor anymore. I don't want to be spoken to a certain way anymore. That shows that you want respect, you want admiration. So try and flip the things that you see that you don't want and really start focusing on what it is that you do want. So when you're in a situation and you're faced with something that you don't want, you have the opportunity to turn that around and put that into a positive spin as to what it is that you do want. And focus on what you do want all the time, all the time, all the time. If you keep focused on what you want, you're going to stay on the path towards it. Every time you turn away from it and look at what you don't want, you're going in the wrong direction. Another reason why it's really important to know what you want is because when you then come into daily situations and you're going through your daily life and you come into a situation, you are able to really quickly deduce whether or not this situation, this conversation, this person that you're encountering with is actually conducive with your plans, your dreams, your hopes and your desires. You'll find that you come into conversations with people and you start thinking, actually, this conversation has no bearing on my life. We're talking about people, but I don't even know. And actually, this is not helpful to who I am and who I want to be. So knowing what you want gives you a really good opportunity to know when to actually engage in situations and when to pull back away from them, because you're going to know whether or not they are going to be helpful to your future or whether they're just a distraction from it. Knowing what you want is really good in terms of helping you set goals. Once you know where your end goalpost is, you know what mini steps, what mini goals you need to put in place to work towards that. And this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. This is something that needs to be implemented slowly so that you don't become overwhelmed. So knowing what you want is the start of your journey. Putting the steps in, because we're taking steps, that's the point, it is a journey. So you know what steps need to be put in place. So, for example, I want to be a nurse. So from a nurse needs these types of qualifications. To get those type of qualifications, I need these types of qualifications. To get those qualifications, I need these qualifications. And then you're working backwards to where we're taking a trip back from the future to where we are. That is why knowing what you want is really important. It's where you're going to end up, but it is the journey that is the most magical part. And when you're in alignment with your journey, you will see that the opportunities that come to you are always going to be conducive to where you want to be, because you have decided what it is that you want. I love the quote by mindtools.com that says, setting goals gives you long-term vision and short-term motivation. Knowing what you want and working your way to what you want is going to give you a daily purpose. It's going to give you fulfillment, it's going to give you personal satisfaction. And the best thing is that you get to celebrate small wins every single day along your journey, because it's not just getting to the end and then yay, we're done. Every single step that we take is a win, and we need to celebrate those wins. You're out of an incarcerated situation. What is it that you want? What is it that you want to do? Don't let this be determined by what your mum says, what your dad said, what your best friend said, what your boyfriend said, what anyone else has to say. What do you want? In fact, don't even talk to anyone about what it is that you want. Take personal accountability for what you want and take personal responsibility for your journey to get there. So hopefully from last week you are now using Pinterest and you've created a vision board of the type of clothes that you want to wear and how you want to dress and the kind of colours that you want to use. And if you do need any help with that, you can message me and I will help you. That is at myselfcentral on Instagram. I want you to create a separate vision board on Pinterest to include the house you want to live in, the kind of area you want to live in, how many kids you want, whether you want kids. I want you to do, whether you want a dog, whether you want a cat. Just start creating a vision board of anything that you can think of that you want, and you can create this on Pinterest. Keep it a secret. This is your board. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to start carving out the life that you want. And don't think because of what I've done, I can't do that. This is not for me. This is for you. You are a creator. You created the mess that you got into. Create the hope. You can create your own sense of hope just by visualizing and thinking about your desires. Your desires are important. Your dreams are important. What you want to do with your life is important. And the best way to get fulfillment out of life is to serve someone else. So you've done your time now. What did you learn from it? How could you use that experience to help someone else? How could you serve the community now with the knowledge that you have? How could you help other women? How could you help people in your community? How could you help your neighbours? You can start being the light in the world that makes the changes that start changing the people around you, because no one else can take responsibility for what's going on in the world. We can't take responsibility for how nasty people are, how evil people are, even how evil we are. That's the only thing that we can take responsibility. We all have evil inside us. We all have anger, fear. We all have these emotions, but we can control whether we feed them or not. So knowing what you want is a really good way to stop. So knowing what you want is a really good way to stop focusing on what didn't happen and what didn't come through for you and the expectations that didn't get fulfilled. It's a really good way to start thinking, no, that's where I want to be. That's what I'm going to focus on. It is a shift, and it is something that needs to be practiced daily. You need to stop these spiraling downward negative thought patterns that are going to hold you in the place that you've been. You're not in an incarcerated situation now, so there's no point letting your mind keep you in an incarcerated situation. And the biggest prison that we all have to deal with is the prison that we can trap ourselves in our mind. So we can break free from that. We can break free from that by knowing simply we don't want to be there anymore, and this is where we want to be. So knowing what you want is so important, and I really hope that you can start making plans to put together a future that is what you want. Any help or support, you can contact yourson.org. You can contact them on Instagram and on their website. You can also contact me on Instagram at myselfcentral or at Miskmore. I hope you have a fabulous week. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of your vision boards. So if you do make them, please do send me screenshots. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you start shaping your future.